Yeah.
Yeah, just have a bonus episode, talk some Transformers.
All right. Well,
Um,
let's get to it.
how are you doing today?
I'm doing just fine. Just had a few classes today, and that was about it.
Nice, nice. What are you studying?
Right now I'm just studying in university, doing some business management, and I mean that's about it. I have a Spanish exam tomorrow again. I'm not sure if you saw my Twitter post, but I'm struggling with Spanish a little bit, but I'm sure I'll get through with it tomorrow.
Nice. You seem pretty smart. I'm sure you can hack it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm Callum, so I don't know how much you know about me, but I'm a webcomic artist. I make video
hmm
essays on old cartoons, and I like sci-fi, and I love Transformers.
Well, that's awesome to hear. Who doesn't love Transformers?
Right? I mean, probably bad
I
people.
feel like everyone would have had at least a phase where they would pretty much enjoy Transformers.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, the whole idea, right? Cars
Yeah.
turning into robots, turning into other stuff.
Well, I
Who doesn't
mean,
love
in
that?
my opinion, it's the ultimate toy. It is three things in one. It's a car, it's an action figure, and it's a puzzle. So
Yeah,
it's
I'm looking to see. I
everything in
have
one.
I have some up here. I've got Chrome Dome.
Oh yeah, I have that one.
Yeah, this is a good one. I mean, I
Yeah.
only got it because I love, more than meets the eye.
Oh yeah, me too.
Otherwise, I wouldn't know who like any of these obscure ones are. Got
Yeah, like
Whirl
Will and
here.
stuff.
This
Yeah.
Whirl is really good. The Generations one.
I don't have a lot of those figures. I have because I only really started like properly collecting and when around when WFC was, which is
Mhm.
Siege and stuff. That's like when I started to
Yeah.
properly get some figures.
I feel like that was a really good line. Like I don't
It
get
was it was a very, very good line.
yeah, I don't get the toys as much just because I spend all my money on comics. And that's where my true enjoyment of Transformers comes from the media and the stories and
So I'm
all of
guessing
that
you've been
stuff.
reading the Skybound comics, right?
Yeah, they're really good.
Yeah, they're really, really good. I've been having a absolute joy reading those. I haven't branched off into reading like Void Rivals and stuff yet, but I've been really enjoying the Transformers ones.
I did a review of the first issue or two. It's very good. Like I've read up to the current point. I really liked it because I don't know, it was like it wasn't trying to just launch like a Transformers universe. It was actually I found it to be a very compelling story on its own. I'm very interested in the world building and the characters.
Yeah, and I'm
Um,
liking the whole G1 but with a twist. It's
yeah,
pretty similar, but it's a lot different to it. So
yeah, and I mean, this is kind of the first time I've really enjoyed a GI Joe book as well.
hmm I haven't
Like,
checked out the G.I. Joe book yet, but I think I
yeah,
will.
they're good, and I guess because they, unlike the old IDW like Hasbro verse or whatever they were doing, this is very baked in from the beginning. Whereas that was just like, well, we've got 8 years of Transformer stories and 6 years of GI Joe
Yeah,
stories, and now they're just
felt
in
like
the
they were
same
just trying to
universe.
shoehorn it in.
They're like, but it's okay because we'll do like a 6-page story in the back of our comics that explains that in a very
Yeah,
unwieldy way with
it's
very pretty art,
I
admittedly.
got into IDW very late, so I pretty much only read Mona Mitsuya and Lost Light, and that was it. I didn't read much of anything
Mhm.
else.
I mean, that is a great place to start,
Yeah,
despite the impenetrable, continuity.
yeah, that's just way too much for me to get into and read. I just
Yeah.
couldn't. I just did what I wanted to do, and that was it.
Yeah. I guess we could go back to the beginning. How did you get into Transformers?
Oh well, you see, this is actually a funny story because I never actually liked Transformers. It's like when I was can't remember how old, but like a long time ago, my brother asked me. My brother asked for a robot for Christmas. Not even me, my brother. When he got it, it was the Battle Ops Bumblebee from 2010. It's a big Bumblebee leader class figure, and I just absolutely loved it. And he never even touched it. Like he just did not care for it, but I absolutely loved it. And when I started messing around with that, I realized that they were movies for these characters because it was just the Bumblebee I had. It was the first time ever interacting with Transformers, and the movies just absolutely hooked me in. The very first Transformers movie I watched was actually Transformers 2. I watched Revenge of the Fallen, and then I watched Transformers 1, and then the very first one I saw in cinemas was Dark of the Moon. And then, well,
Mm.
since then it just grew and grew and grew until now.
That's so awesome.
Yeah.
I was like a Transformers baby. I
hmm
guess, because I was a little boy, they were like, yeah, he'll probably like this. So they just,
Yeah.
given me Transformers basically since I can remember. I had
What was your first introduction to it?
okay, what was my first introduction to it? I would probably have to say either somebody gave me a toy or it was the live action movie, the first one.
Yeah.
I'm a 2002 baby, so
Mm,
that was like I was like 5 or 6, so probably the perfect age,
mhm.
I guess to be thrust into that.
Yeah,
Um,
well, perfect age demographic.
yeah, and it's a really good movie. Like it still holds up.
Yeah,
Um,
I still think the 2007 one is pretty great. It might not be my favorite of the Babas, because I think my favorite of the Babas will go to Dark Moon. It just has everything I could want in it.
fair.
Yeah, but I think
I
this is like about a higher quality movie.
I have not revisited really any of the Bayverse films besides the first one because
Mhm.
I don't know, I don't think, no offense, I just don't like them that much. I don't think
Yeah,
they're
yeah,
very
yeah. I mean, that's
good.
understandable.
Yeah. But I mean, except the first one, which I feel like is the strongest.
Yeah, I think it's the highest quality one.
Yeah,
I think it's the highest quality.
my favorite of the live action ones would probably have to be Rise of the Beasts, then Bumblebee, then the 2007 one.
That's a good list. That's not
Yeah.
about my. I think you can assume that my favorite is Rise of the Beast, but it is.
Yeah, it's
Rise of the Beast is
really
definitely my
good.
favorite one.
I
Yeah,
feel like it's
I think Rise of the Beast isn't the highest quality one, but I think it's my favorite one. It just
yeah,
that
that's
that is like a
fair.
definition of my Transformers movie and everything I want to be in it.
Like I don't think it's perfect. People seem to pick on it a lot. It's not unpopular. Like I think people generally liked it, but a lot it kind of flew under the radar.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
I do hear a lot of people complain about it, and I'm just like it's a good movie. It's not. It doesn't have to be like on the level of Dune or something like that to be
Hmm.
an enjoyable movie.
Yeah, well, I
Um,
mean, you can't really expect peak high quality cinema from a Transformers movie.
Like, I
So
certainly wish it was on because I feel like stuff like More Than Meets the Eye is on the level, just that really tight writing. It's like character
yeah.
focused and action and lore and all this stuff. I think that's what the movies could be, but
Well, you
I
see,
don't
I'm really hoping that with the new Skybound comics, since they're done by the people that did the Invincible comics, I'm hoping that eventually maybe the Skybound series could get a TV show, which would be really cool.
that would be neat. I think
Yeah.
it's probably more likely they would do a TV show, but like it's its own thing and adapts elements from that. I don't know if they would.
Mhm.
I mean, I could be wrong. They've done surprising stuff before, but
Yeah.
I don't think they would be like this is the TV adaptation of the Skybound comics. They would probably do more what
I guess it'll determine on how well these Skybound comics really do in the end.
yeah, it seems like they're very popular. Like I mean at my local comic shop, I've had people, yeah, I mean people read them and they're like I don't read Transformers, but I read this cuz it's got a popular writer and I really liked it. So it
Yeah.
seems like it's kind of becoming a little bit of a crossover hit, which is really good.
Yeah. I mean, they have solid writers and comic artists behind it, so
Yeah, I mean, I'm someone who stuck through the IDW reboot, the 2019 verse or whatever, which was kind of rough. I mean, those like going from, the end of the first IDW run, which was so good and like all this groundbreaking stuff and just some of the best Transformers comics like or stories that I've ever, read to the new one, which I just kind of felt like they were being a little cheaper with it, trying to save money, not hiring as experienced writers or artists. And that's not to, put those guys down, right? I think they were good for what they did, but this Skybound stuff is like they're just hiring these superstars that are like super good and it shows.
yeah, I think the Skybound stuff is really good, but I haven't actually touched the 2019 IDW run. I haven't even looked at any of those comics before.
It's got some high points. I would say I would read other stuff first. Like I would recommend, Robots in Disguise or More Than Meets the Eye, or just like the easiest thing to read, the Skybound stuff right now. I would totally just say like if you want to try Transformers stuff, just read the Skybound stuff.
Yeah, I
But
mean, it's a new entry point. It's probably the most accessible. It's kind of, I don't want to say vanilla, but it's pretty like basic Transformers.
yeah,
Like this is Transformers.
maybe like back to basics kind of thing. It's yeah, it's just good. Like the writing is just good. I mean, I don't know, I'm a reviewer and I'm just like, no, it's just good writing. I could break it
Yeah, I mean,
down.
I certainly would agree with that. I think it's very good writing, and I think so far all the characters have been really solid and stuff. And I'm just very excited to see where it goes.
Yeah. And I'll just put a little warning out for our viewers. We're gonna be a little spoiler happy, I think, in this.
Yeah, I
So
did. I've really thought about holding back for those things. Yet, I mean, what's the latest issue? Issue 5, right?
yeah, it is. I
Right.
feel like I have issue 5 over there. I've been sick with COVID for like the past week, so I wasn't able to go out and get the
That sucks.
Cobra Commander and stuff.
That
I
sucks.
guess if you haven't
I
read it,
kind of like.
saves me.
I know I haven't read
Yeah.
the GI Joe stuff, so
Good. It's surprisingly good. It's
I
like
might I
really good.
might if it's like if it's really important to read for the Transformers books, then yeah, I might do it. I haven't really like GI Joe is not really like my thing. I haven't really gotten into that at all.
Me neither.
But the
I was
Transformers
just like,
books,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, I was just like, well, it's in the same universe. I'm gonna try and just read everything.
Well, so
Um,
far from what I'm seeing, the Cobra books tied to Megatron, I think.
yes, he is in it, I
So
guess.
I think I'm
Um,
gonna have to take a read of those.
yeah, it's pretty cool. Like, I don't know, I'm glad that I'm enjoying it, not because of the Transformers like crossover stuff, but in addition to, or something. However you phrase that.
Yeah. Like you're just willingly reading it instead of reading it because you have to.
Yeah. So that's kind of a benefit if like you don't have to read it right now. I think they said they're trying to keep it, you know, pretty like you can just read one thing if you want to.
Yeah.
But it's always nice to know that if you want to go back and read it, it is good and it's gotten good reviews. I feel like, sometimes we're punished, right, for reading everything because we're like, boy, that Marvel show wasn't very good, but I have to watch it. So I also wanted to ask you, what do you think about the current cartoon, Earthspark?
I think it's I have really mixed feelings about it because I think like hold on, give me a second. Right. So I think it's really solid. I think it has a lot of elements that I really like, but stuff like there's also other things I don't like. What I think is the detriment of Spark, honestly, is I think the way they handle the legacy characters like Optimus Prime, Elita One, Megatron. I think the way they handle those characters is so incredible that anytime I'm not spent with them, I'm like, oh, I really wish I could be seeing Elite to do something right now. I really wish I could see more Megatron content. And it's like such a blessing and a curse of how well they did, especially Megatron. Like I need to see more of this about Megatron. I need to see him every episode because he's like by far one of my favorite incarnations of the character.
He gives
Yeah,
me
but I
Liam
think
Neeson vibes.
yeah, that's like really what is a detriment of his back to me. I mean, I'm not saying I don't like the new characters. I think they're pretty solid. I think all of them are really good. I think the humans are pretty good as well, but they're just not as compelling as the legacy characters. And
I
I kind
totally
of
get
wish
that.
it's just kind of like the downside of what they're trying to do because they're still trying to make it a kids show. So I can understand why the main characters are still kids. But honestly, I find the parents a lot more compelling. I find them a lot more interesting. Like I wish in my ideal Spark, it would be pretty much what it is right now, but they wouldn't have the kids and they instead have the parents. Because I really like what's her name? I forgot the
Yeah, I
mom.
don't remember
I
there. It's been a
know
while since I
Alex. It's
watched it.
Alex Malto, and then the other one I can't remember. Dorothy. Yes.
Dorothy. Yeah.
Dot. Yeah,
Those are the
I
are
really
those
like
the
them.
kids? Yeah, those are the kids because
No, no,
Dot
no.
is the
That's
mom.
the Dot is the mom. Dorothy's the mom. Mo and Robbie are the kids.
Right, right. See, it's been a while.
Yeah.
It's been a few months,
Yeah.
but I think for my part, like, yeah, I think you're either gonna really like the new characters or you're just gonna be meh on them. And
Yeah.
that's kind of the limb that the show asks you to go out on
Yeah.
is because
If it's just mhm.
the whole idea is we're going to introduce new characters. Now your legacy characters are still here. I like that. I think it's definitely going to be a toss up. Like that is probably going to be the reason you either like or don't care about the show is the
Yeah.
new characters. And I think it did a really good job. Like for you know, for my tastes, it really catered to me. I love like the found family stuff and just how they straight up like the mom and dad call the Terrans their kids is so
Yeah.
wholesome. And I
Yeah.
just eat that stuff up. So and not to mention the fact that like the actual new characters are really well written. Like the Terrans, when
Yeah.
they introduced
I
like
think they were really cool.
yeah, when they introduced three new ones in like the mid-season finale, I was like, okay, this is interesting, but they're gonna have to work really hard to make me care about not only
Each
like
and
the
every one
two
of
we
them.
already have, which I liked,
Yeah.
but three new ones, and they did. Like they developed them really well over the rest of the season. So by
Yeah.
the end, I was like, I know these characters, I know what makes each one unique, what their role is. They have interesting relationships with the pre-established or with the legacy characters. And yeah, the legacy characters are handled great, and I do wish we got more of them. But I think like I'm kind of getting, I'm getting more than I expected. So I'm like, I'm pretty
Yeah.
happy.
Yeah. I think the ending of the first season really soured the show for me. I thought it was a really weak ending.
Oh, you thought it
I
soured the show. Oh, I thought you said
Yeah,
sold the show.
no,
Yeah.
so I didn't like the ending at all. I felt like it was really rushed. I felt like it was a big climax, a big 3 episode event, and then it just kind of wrapped up in 2 minutes in the end. Like it was just really kind of anticlimactic.
It's
And
fair. I liked
yeah,
it. I'm excited for season two. Whenever they,
yeah, I'm excited for it as
yeah,
well.
they seemed weirdly quiet about it for some reason. Like it was really hard to track down information
On season two.
on season two. Like,
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I really hope season two
yeah,
doesn't get cancelled. I mean, they said that they was greenlit and they greenlit season two a long time ago.
yeah, I think it's
Like when
been
the
the best.
show,
Oh, go on. Yeah,
yeah, when the show first came out, they greenlit season one and two. But I mean, it's just you can see it. Like the toy sales just haven't been there. Like I
mm,
mean, if you go in any store, you can see just walls and walls of this black product just not moving. So
that's a
it's just
bummer.
yeah, it is, but it's also like I don't know. It's kind of weird because Hasbro is obviously Transformers is a kid's toy, but kids aren't really the main market of Transformers anymore. I would say.
Yeah, it's
I
the
feel like
adult collectors and
yeah,
fans.
those are the ones that sell more, the legacy toys, series toys. Those gimmick toys, and they just overproduce because there's so many of them, and they're just like, who is the market for these? Like, because the collectors
Yeah,
definitely aren't buying these, kids
I
aren't buying these
yeah,
because I
I
don't even
just
think
don't.
kids could watch it. Spark.
Yeah, I just don't think that like. I mean, it is on Nickelodeon, so that's good. Like it's Paramount
Yeah,
Plus, but it's also Nick. So I feel like that makes it a little broader. If it was on Netflix, like probably everyone would be watching it, but
yeah,
I like Paramount Plus. I think it's a great service. But that's
hmm
besides the point. It is niche. I just don't think shows like cartoons meant to sell toys is a viable business model anymore. It probably hasn't been since like the early 2010s.
I mean, yeah, I can't think of like when the last time that was like besides like I'm trying to think of like toy products. I mean, I'm pretty sure the Barbie movie would have sold a lot of Barbies,
Yeah.
but
Well,
that's
I
like
mean, there are
not kids
exceptions,
buying that.
but I just think, like the 80s, right, was
Yeah.
the we sell toys. And then
Mhm.
in the 90s, they kind of were like, well, what if we told like, you know, these intricate stories that kind of informed what the toy designers were doing more?
Mhm.
So it was kind of like a balance. And then by the 2000s, it was basically the story dictates what toy line happens
Yeah.
to a
Yeah.
certain extent, right? Like it was different for every show, for every studio. I just don't think kids are doing like toys
TV.
as much anymore, like action figures. Like certainly,
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
yeah, like there is a bunch of little kids in my congregation and they play with toys, but they're playing with like Duplo and you know,
Mhm.
like the little kids toys. And then they've got like Minecraft and Fortnite and video games that they can play. Like I got to be honest, I love toys, but like why would you ever play with those when you have like Minecraft?
I think Hasbro seriously is really, really underestimating the power of the video game market. They just have not
Yeah. And
doing right in that.
yeah, and I certainly think, like shows like Adventure Time or Phineas and Ferb sold a ton of merch. It wasn't,
Mm.
there wasn't like Phineas and Ferb action figures flying off the shelves, but they sold like, pencil cases. Like we had all this stuff as homeschool
Yeah.
kids. I had the
Yeah.
Phineas and Ferb pencil case. I had the Phineas and Ferb Perry the Platypus, what do you call it? It's like a notebook, right? I
Yeah.
had the
Yeah. Yeah.
Phineas and Ferb pencils. I had the Phineas and Ferb cup. I had all this stuff. I think there's like a market for that. Like Rise of the Beasts, they should be selling all kinds of like backpacks and shirts, and I'm sure they
Well,
do, right?
I've seen a ton of them.
Yeah,
I
I
don't know
think
how
that's
well they sell, but
yeah,
I think there's a lot of them.
yeah, I think that's this is just me. I'm not a marketing exec or whatever, but I think that's gonna
Yeah.
sell more than like making 100,000 Cheetor toys.
Yeah.
No disrespect towards Cheetor, love Beast Wars, but I mean he has like 3 lines in that movie.
Yeah, I mean, and especially making toys of characters that don't do much in the movie. Like, I
Yeah,
feel like there's a severe like there's like three Mirage toys total, and he's like the main character in the movie. It's like
yeah.
I feel
Mirage
like they
was
really
really
didn't plan it
good,
out well. Yeah, I really
good in
liked him.
that. It
I
was
really
just
liked him.
nice. It was nice to have a live action movie. I mean, Bumblebee did this, and then I liked that they carried that over to Rise of the Beasts. It was just like I related to the human characters, and I was
Hmm.
kind of, I was interested in their story, but it was also
Yeah,
like we recognize that a lot of you are here for the Transformers, so we're actually going to like give you a little personality for each of them.
yeah.
You can tell
That's
them
what I liked
apart.
about Rise of the Beast.
You know, you can tell them apart. And granted, I wish there was like more of their personalities. Like you really only get Bumblebee, Optimus, and Mirage. those are the only ones that have really like depth to their
I
character.
wouldn't even say Bumblebee really has much. It's just because he had the Bumblebee movie that he
Yeah.
seems like he has a lot.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is like the audience has been made familiar with these characters over the past few movies,
Yeah,
and each of them has been given like an arc and had the
yeah,
comic
for
like the
sure.
person who doesn't watch the shows and read the comics knows what their deal is.
Yeah,
Um,
I mean, but just the whole merchandise rollout for ICPs is so interesting. It's so weird. The
yeah.
characters they picked to have merch and which ones they didn't pick to have merch. Because
Hmm.
like, if you think about it, Rhinox has like maybe the most toys because he has
That is
the
weird.
little he has the Smash Changer, he has the
Mhm.
Voyager class, he has the like the mainline Voyager class, which is like shell forming everywhere. Like, he has that one smaller Transformer one, and he has the little mini one. Like there's so many Rhinox toys, and he just does nothing in the movie.
I think
So
that is probably my biggest complaint is there's almost no actual beast stuff. Like they're there and I like Optimus Primal, but there really isn't a lot of like I guess focus on those characters.
yeah,
Um,
it just felt like they wanted to make a certain movie, and they just threw the beast in.
yeah, I think maybe they were like, well, we've kind of done G1 to death, so let's like try to sell some Beast Wars toys.
Yeah,
Like
they
I
just
guess
kind
that's
of
what you
banked
just
on
said.
the marketability of the Beast Wars characters when there is definitely
Mhm.
marketability there, but it's not enough to carry a
I
movie.
think yeah, I think if they wanted this to become like those characters to become as popular as the G1 characters, they would have needed a movie that was like about those characters, like really dug
Yeah,
into their like their goals and their backstory and their psyche and like their journey. But that kind of overstuffs the movie, right? Like it's a 2-hour movie. There's not enough time, for all the Autobots, really, let alone like the
yeah.
Autobots. They didn't even have Decepticons. They didn't even have
No, I
time for
mean
that.
there was, but
Yeah, they
it
cut
kind of
it,
got
right?
removed.
They cut
Yeah,
that from the thing, which is kind of disappointing, but
yeah,
like I'm glad with how the movie turned out. I think it could have been better, but I think it could have been way worse. And
yeah, for sure.
yeah, I like the fact that we did at least get for most of the characters, we got a thing that's like this is kind of their deal, right? Like
Yeah,
this is their general deal, and it kind of not really for the Beast Wars characters, but for like the G1 Autobots, each of them is
yeah,
pretty much in character with their G1 interpretation,
but
being
yeah, I
like
mean,
pretty
I would
much,
think so.
if you squint, right? Like,
Yeah,
or
I
they at
mean, I
least
think
have a personality, that
yeah,
the
that's the main thing. They at least have something going on with
RC,
them. Like,
the audience can be like, oh, RC's like the cool assassin girl.
yeah,
And, Wheeljack, they're like, oh, he's like the science guy.
yeah. Well, I mean, he
Um,
has glasses, so
he has glasses, so he's the science guy. I guess
yeah,
we have to give him glasses. Would have been funny if they didn't change his design, but they just gave him horn rimmed glasses.
yeah.
Okay.
I don't know that it's just I really wish they just kind of did more. Like they just don't do that much, and
Yeah.
that's the thing because they're on screen, they're on screen a
Yeah.
lot, but they just don't do a lot with their screen time.
I am hopeful because, like, I was really worried after this movie didn't make $1 billion that they would be like, we're scrapping it. We're going to do something else. No more sequels for this. But they weren't. They said, no, we're going to do the trilogy. And I was like, oh, that's good because I feel like this movie had a lot of good stuff you could build on. Like a sequel to this, where they take what they learned from this movie, could be fantastic. It could be like, they could be like, oh, okay, people wanted more characterization for the Beast Wars characters. All right, we'll do a thing that's like, more with them, or we'll refocus more on the Decepticons and really do like a good Decepticon villain. And like I feel like this kind of needs to be treated like the Marvel movies where like the Avengers films, they're not all the main character, right? Like Hawkeye doesn't have a big arc in Avengers, the first one.
Yeah,
It's
that's
more
the thing. They really need to build it up. I think they
yeah,
went too quick with Rise of the Beast. They did something too big for its own good, and they really should have slowed it down. Do some more smaller budget movies,
yeah.
$100 million movies like Bumblebee. Do a few of
Yes.
those, and then build up to a two
That,
hundred million dollar movie.
that was actually only an $80 million movie.
So that's even better than
Yeah, but with inflation, that'll now be $7 bajillion.
yeah.
Because apparently the world is on fire, but we still.
Apart, I mean, I'm doing just fine.
Oh yeah, it's like that'll be $700. The Optimus Prime Smash Changer. Okay, okay. Yeah, I would love it if they did more of an MCU approach of like, here's a Bumblebee and here's a like it would be cool to just do like a solo film once in a while.
Yeah, I mean, like I was saying on Twitter the other day, I don't know how there hasn't been a solo Optimus Prime movie yet. Like
Yeah,
that would
that's so weird.
that's like such a simple thing that they can do, and I feel like it
Want
would
that.
sell really well.
People love Optimus Prime because he's awesome.
Yeah,
He's so good, right? Like
yeah,
he is
exactly.
there's a reason, they call him a paragon.
I
He
mean, my
is like
favorite parts of Optimus in the Transformers movies, especially the Bayverse ones, was when when he was interacting with Sam, when he was interacting with Mark
man.
Wahlberg's character.
Well,
Especially Mark Wahlberg's character, I thought was really good, and I feel like they could have explored that more in an Optimus Prime solo movie. Give him a
yeah,
good human character to bounce off of, like Noah. Noah is really good.
it
Give
would
him the Optimus
be
Prime solo movie.
I think if they play their cards right, what they have right now will work, you know? I'm very
Mhm.
interested. Like I'm super excited for the Transformers 1 movie. That
Yeah,
looks
well,
so good. I mean like, well,
really
I
hoping
shouldn't
we get
say
a
it
trailer
looks so good.
soon.
It looks like it could potentially be really good. I need to see like a trailer or a plot synopsis or something.
Yeah, I
Um
just really hope it reinvigorates the franchise because it just
yeah,
feels like the franchise is really they're at not like a low point, but they're at a stagnant point. Like we aren't getting bigger,
yeah.
but we aren't really getting smaller either.
I totally agree. I think yeah, I think the low point was kind of between Bumblebee and like that 5 years where there was just
Yeah, that was a
nothing, you
long
know?
wait.
It
Yeah,
was insane. And there was like barely any news
it was.
for most of that.
I mean that's why I made the whole account. Like I was just so excited that after 5 years we're finally getting a new Transformers movie.
Yeah. And
So
it's great to see like what you do is so I mean, at least for me, I really enjoy it. It's so
mhm.
nice to see a little bit of Transformers news every day.
Yeah, well, I try to post whatever I can, whatever I find out about the movies, I try to post. So yeah, I mean, Transformers One, especially is like I can't say too much about it because the test screenings are out, and I'm trying to keep the information kind of low because
Mm.
I don't even know if you remember, but during Rise of the Beast, when the test screenings happened, there was just massive plot leaks everywhere. Like everyone
Mhm.
knew what was going to happen in this movie, and so
That
far that hasn't happened for Transformers One, which is really good.
that is good. Have
Um,
you been to a test screening?
no, I've never been to one. I don't live in America, so and they only tend to
Yeah.
do those in America. So
Yeah, I they don't have any
yeah,
near me, and I do live in America, but I guess,
I mean, it's not
probably
like it's really random whenever it happens. Is people are randomly selected for it, so it's just by pure
yeah.
luck you will get into one.
Well, that's exciting. I'm glad some people are getting to experience it. I hope they're giving good feedback. I am very excited. I think like going forward though, because this movie is very much them kind of experimenting. I think they're like, okay,
Yeah,
we
for
got a
sure.
really good, Ninja Turtles movie. Paramount did that movie was so good.
Yeah,
Um,
I really enjoy that movie.
yeah, and I think they're just kind of like putting feelers out. They were like Rise of the Beasts. I actually liked that they took feedback in a good way
Yeah.
from Bumblebee and from The Last Night, right? They were like, okay, people didn't like The Last Night because it was just mindless, action.
Hmm.
People liked Bumblebee because it had a strong character thing, but they missed some more of the big scope and action. So they actually
Yeah.
took that and applied it to the new movie, right? They were like,
Yeah. I mean,
still has really
I,
good character moments and stuff, but it's also pretty big action.
that's one thing I like about Rise of the Beast. They did what they said they would do. They gave
Hmm.
us a Transformers movie with more heart, more human character, like integrating well into the story and just more emotional weight. And they did it with more action, and they pretty much delivered on exactly what they told us they would deliver on, which is why I like Rise of the Beast a lot.
Yeah, I love it. It's again one of my top three live action movies. The animated movie is my favorite of all of them.
Yeah, well, we're finally
I
getting another
yeah,
animated movie after 40 years.
I still think the original 1986 movie is the best Transformers movie because I'm a nerd.
Yeah,
And like, oh, that animation is
I
so beautiful. But that's off topic, I guess. I think if they continue to improve and take feedback, like the next live action movie, next year could be amazing. And the movie
well, I
after
mean,
that.
they said 2026, so let's
Oh,
hope that they keep that date.
did they say 26? I thought it was 25 that the second in the trilogy is
Live
coming out.
action? Nah, Lorenzo said in an interview recently that it would be 2026, which is
Oh.
good. I kind of want them to rush it out. I prefer 2026 release.
No, that's good. I
Plus,
mean, that's a little
getting
disappointing for me because now I
yeah,
have to wait a year longer, but
yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, I'm good as long as they don't they need to take their time. Like I feel like the fact that they took their time with Rise of the Beasts resulted in a really good movie.
Yeah, and I mean, I feel like what happened with Rise of Beasts is that they just had like yeah, they had a lot of time, but I feel like having that much time was also a detriment to it because they had too
Mm.
many ideas. I feel like they had too
Yeah,
many ideas and they just had enough time to put those ideas into the film, and that's
yeah.
what it just ended up being a bit of.
It did feel
It
a
was
little
it was
bit,
kind of bloated, a little bloated. There was
yeah,
too
kind
much
of
to
a
going on.
hodgepodge. I agree with that. What would you like to see in the next movie? What would be your ideal sequel to Rise of the Beasts?
Well, they said that they're gonna be doing the GI Joe stuff, so if they're gonna do it, fine. But I really hope what they do with the GI Joe stuff is that they don't like give us big explanations to GI Joe. I've always said that GI Joe can work in Transformers, but they need to handle it a certain way, and the way to handle it is just name your human characters GI Joe characters. That's all you need to do, and you solve the big problem there. Because, for example, if they I would really wanted to bring back John Cena because I feel like John Cena was really good in Bumblebee. I feel like he would make for a really good GI Joe character. It would make sense for his character because Sector 7 kind of you can explain that it kind of just transformed into GI Joe, and that way, I mean, John Cena is perfect for the movie because John Cena perfect for the franchise. Because not only is John Cena a big Transformers fan, right? He can work as a GI Joe. I think he's a good actor, and he's very popular with Chinese audience, which is something we've lost. We've kind of lost the Chinese audience recently, and I feel like John Cena is just enough to give us back that sort of audience back in over
Mhm.
there, so that the movies can begin back to make big box office bank.
Yeah, China is a pretty big audience. I mean, it's like a
Yeah, I mean, we
billion
lost a lot
people.
of it for Rise of the Beast.
Yeah, that is odd. Well, I mean, yeah, that sounds good. I would be interested in that. I honestly, I mean, the GI Joe stuff. I'm like, I mean, they could be in the movie, but I'm more interested in like, let's see what the Decepticons are doing. Like, let's have them.
Yeah, well, I mean,
That
that's what I'm hoping they
yeah,
go back to the basics for the second one.
yeah, that
Um,
kind of feels like a dangling plot thread from Bumblebee, right? And even in this
yeah,
film, they're like the Decepticons are out there when they discover where the Autobots are hiding and they're vulnerable. Oh man, it's gonna be a real dangerous time.
well, I
Um,
think that's why they kind of removed the whole transit thing from Rise of the Beast, just because it just kind of leaves it open ended that whether or not the Decepticons even know where the Autobots are,
yeah.
because it kind of the whole transit being in the movie. While I did like to see, it kind of just undermine the ending of Bumblebee. Because the ending of
Mhm.
Bumblebee destroys the transmission, so the Decepticons will know what Earth is. So, kind of playing transit
Yeah.
in Rise of Beast kind of undermines that because it immediately establishes that the Decepticons do know where Earth is.
Yeah.
So,
I feel like an easy way to have the Decepticons find Earth would just be that they noticed the giant planet-sized portal, you know?
yeah,
And they were like, "Well, this seems kind of weird. Did our ancient god return without us noticing?"
yeah, yeah. It could segue into a really nice way to
Yeah.
establish Decepticons back on Earth.
And I think like I would like them to space them out a bit more, you know. I feel like the third movie is definitely set up to be, "Oh, Unicron's back. It's like the Thanos thing. Oh no."
I don't even think that should be the third movie. I think they should do that in maybe a sixth movie if they can even get that far.
Yeah, I
I feel like
totally
they need to
agree.
take their time.
I totally agree. They should slot some stuff in between. If, like, but they said it's going to be a trilogy. They haven't said there's going to be like spin-off movies in
Yeah, yeah,
between.
yeah, yeah.
So I, I'm kind of working within the parameters of like what they've said it's going to be, but I totally think it would make more sense to be like, okay, we had the big starter. That's our big team up movie. Like, let's make the Transformers movies, the ones that are called Transformers tagline, are like big event films. And then let's
Yeah.
have some smaller scale, like let's have one movie a year and just be like Transformers, you know, Revenge of the Decepticons or whatever. Terrible
Yeah.
title. And then, the next year we have like Ultra Magnus, and we
No,
do
I mean,
something.
I totally agree with that. I totally think that that's the way that they should go.
And I
But
hope
the thing
they
is that
oh, yeah, go on.
I don't know if they have like the confidence in Transformers to do that.
I think though that like if you picked to start, right? Like if you did it smartly, I mean people did not care about Mirage before Rise of the Beasts. Now I'd say
Yeah,
he's a very well-known character now. People really like
yeah,
him.
I'd say so.
So just, throw some characters in there like Ultra Magnus can appear in the next Transformers movie and he's like, I have a big space thing I need to do. And then he leaves, and the next movie's like, oh my goodness, that character I love is now doing a big space thing. I'll watch his movie.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
mean,
they said that they want to go to
yeah,
space, right? They said that. I
yeah,
mean,
I want that
so
so bad because Transformers is a whole galaxy, right? Or like a
yeah,
universe. Let's do
the
a movie.
Energon universe.
Yeah, Now, I guess to be fair, that's very expensive to do in live action, like to do a whole alien planet with like Transformers and stuff. But it doesn't need to be Cybertron. It could be like a giant jungle planet or something, or a,
Yeah,
you know, I'm so tired of the planet of like the Star Wars type of planets that are just like it's one biome, and I'm like, that's not how planets work. But okay,
yeah,
like Star Wars is cool, like it does it well. That's its thing. But for most other franchises, I'm like, this is kind of lazy.
yeah.
It has been a delight chatting with you.
Yeah, I mean, it's been pretty good. I think that, it was a good conversation, and I really enjoyed, talking about, the comics and stuff with other Transformers fans. Not often you get to do that. So
Yeah. Well, I'd love to have you back on sometime.
yeah, sure. Anytime. I don't really have that much going on these days besides school, and yeah, I tend to be kind
Cool.
of free sometimes. So
All right. Well, I will have links to, oh my goodness, I forgot your name. Mirage.
TF, yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes, that one. You could say that one.
Yeah. I'll have links to Mirage's Twitter account in the description below so you can go check him out. Great channel if you want, or great account if you want to check out Transformers news.
Bye bye.
Thank you for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, please remember to subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell to be notified of my future uploads. You can also leave a like and comment below to let me know what you think of this video. And if you're a fan of my comic, Siblings of Steel, you can read it on my website, Webtoon, and Instagram. All the links are in the description below. If you want to support me and get access to exclusive content and early access to my videos, consider becoming a member of my Patreon community. Once again, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.